And joining us in studio now is Tom Djokovic. Tom is the CEO of XsunX Incorporated. XSNX is their stock symbol. Good to see you again, Tom.
Great to be back, Don. Thanks.
Now, the last time we had you on the show, you were on a roof, and we were looking at one of your commercial solar installations. It really was a fascinating piece. How's that project coming along?
Oh, it's going real well, Don. As a matter of fact, we got City Building Department final approval yesterday, and we're actually doing the cutover tonight to get the system turned on and working for our client.
Now, you put out a press release this week, which I thought was kind of interesting because, of course, you've been concentrating exclusively on the commercial solar market here in Southern California, but now you're starting to move into residential. Tell us about that.
Well, yeah, Don, we focus on commercial. We still think that's where the biggest area of growth for us is going in the future. Residential is also a very lucrative market, and the one thing we've been lacking is a really good financing program. We've got great financing options for our commercial customers, and on the residential side, we just weren't happy with what we were seeing out there. But recently, we applied for and qualified with an outfit called Kilowatt Financial, and they've got several great programs designed specifically for the residential market. And so we're excited about that. So we're going to begin a lead generation program for the residential side and see if we can grow that side of the business.
Now, in previous interviews, Tom, you've mentioned a learning curve with your clients, and you've said that we're still in that process where clients are learning the benefits from a commercial standpoint of adapting to solar. Is that learning curve maybe a little bit more accelerated with residential?
Well, yes, and I think it's because in the residential market, you have a lot of vendors out there who have adopted or have really done a good job at marketing the zero down lease program, where essentially they rent your roof for free and sell you power for less than what the utility's selling it to you for, a few cents a kilowatt hour less. And so for a lot of customers, it's a great option. They don't own anything, and they're subject to rate increases annually by these vendors. But nonetheless, it's a great program. It works, and it provides a degree of benefit. And so I think that program, through all those different vendors nationally, have really made the value of solar in a residential environment very apparent for for majority of the population.
Well, I know that you've firmly established yourself in the Southern California market from a commercial standpoint. People know who you are when you're marketing. They know what the company's reputation is. How difficult will it be to crack the residential market? Because as you mentioned just a moment ago, that's a crowded space.
It's a very crowded space. Well, we have sales agents that are experienced in that area who then moved into the commercial side because they wanted to deal more in the commercial customer space. But we do have experienced people on that side, so we're looking forward to utilizing their background experience. It is competitive. At the same time, there's a lot more potential customers out there at any given time. So we see that side of the business growing even in a highly competitive environment.
So you're basically going to be marketing to individual residences, not just like neighborhoods or tract homes, so to speak, which I guess would come under commercial, but you're going to be actually marketing to individual homeowners.
Yeah, individual homeowners, but you bring up an interesting topic, and that's the concept of community solar. Just recently, Obama spoke again about the opportunities associated with community solar. It's an area of growth. It's an area that we've offered some press releases on the past where we see potential growth. So community solar is essentially addressing an entire community's needs and not just the individual residences. So you can create a larger scale, more competitively, a more cost-efficient solution for a large group of homes rather than one at a time.
Well, it's kind of interesting because it seems to me that solar doesn't have that barrier to entry. If someone wants to go green, you can't put a windmill on your roof. Your homeowners association is not going to fly. But going into solar, there's no barrier to entry. I mean, everybody's pretty accepting of the technology.
Well, the barrier to entry is just really perception of what you see out of it. I mentioned this before. Clients ask all the time, how much does solar cost? And my answer is the less than obvious answer is zero. You're already paying for this power. With solar, essentially what you do is just prepay for that same amount of power. Eventually you receive the equal value in return of power production, and then you have free solar for years and years, for decades. So you're wrapping your brain around that concept is something that's still developing, but it's a concept that's being, it's more and more rapidly being adopted and understood by our customer base.
You had mentioned on a previous episode of the program that you were able to show a commercial client that they would essentially pay for the system in about 6 or 7 years, and beyond that the power was essentially free. Is that a similar timeline with residential?
Well, yeah, residential doesn't have all of the same benefits tax-wise as a commercial space is, but the nice thing about residential is they really only get billed for kilowatt hour usage. So you can literally go in and offset 100% of a client's bill. So someone with a $250 a month bill can see 100% of that disappear overnight. And with that, yeah, you could see those kinds of payback periods, in some instances even faster.
That's really exciting. Once again, the company is XsunX Incorporated. XSNX is their stock symbol. This is really an exciting direction that you're going into. I'll be honest with you, I always kind of thought you would go there, and so I'm glad to see that happening. Best of luck to you. Congratulations.
Thanks, Todd.